In other news, there's a statement that was released by CEOs, by a collective of CEOs, and called the Business Roundtable, headed up by Jamie Dimon, who's the president of Chase. There's a statement that they released today, and I want to read a portion of it to you. This is what it says. Americans deserve an economy that allows each person to succeed through hard work and creativity and to lead a life of meaning and dignity. We believe that the free market system is the best means of generating jobs, good jobs, a strong, sustainable economy, innovation, blah, 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 blah. Businesses play a vital role, yes, blah, 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 blah. But here's the part that is a little surprising. While each of our individual companies serves its own corporate purpose, we share a fundamental commitment to all of our stakeholders. We commit to delivering value to our customers. We will further the tradition of American companies leading the way, et cetera, investing in our employees, dealing fairly and ethically with our suppliers, supporting the communities in which we work. This is new. We respect the people in our communities and protect the environment. Yeah, okay. Generating a long-term value for shareholders. Now, I read that to you because I wanted to give you the context before I gave you the commentary. What's significantly left out, what's notably left out of this is a statement that was made in the 1997 version of this. Now, this memo is one page, and there's like 10 pages of signatures from dozens of CEOs who've signed on to this. A similar document was made in 1997. In 1997, though, they established this principle that shareholder value was preeminent. Right? Nothing trumped shareholder value. That statement is missing from this document. And now they're addressing their responsibility to stakeholders versus shareholders. Shareholders obviously mean people who have invested in the company and own shares in the company. Stakeholders, though, is kind of a broader term, a much broader term that can include the community, the environment, the American people, etc. Some of these intangible concepts. And so it gives the appearance that CEOs now actually care about income inequality and are trying to change the corporate structure or the fundamental understanding of corporations that shareholders are first. And don't get me wrong, it all sounds good, but I want to explain to you first before I tell you why I think this is a bunch of bull. So they're saying that, in this document, as CEOs of all of these corporations, that they're trying to create an environment in their companies that allows them to focus on stakeholders, I almost said shareholders, on stakeholders versus shareholders, which means that they could potentially be willing to make decisions that are not in the best interest of profits for shareholders, but may be in the best interest for, let's say, the environment or for to reduce income inequality. This is what the document suggests. More specifically, what they're not saying in this document suggests that possibility. Here's why I have a problem with it. I love the idea, and it sounds good. Right? It sounds hopeful. It sounds idealistic. But the shareholders have to vote on these types of things, right? We have to see this in action. Like, what happens to a CEO when he finally makes a decision that's in the best interest of the environment, but maybe not in the best interest of the bottom line of the shareholders? Then, there's a good possibility that CEO will no longer be the CEO. Right? The next shareholders meeting, there's a good chance these guys are going to be put out. Here's the thing. Capitalism, particularly how we have our corporatism operates in the United States, right? It's not just the CEOs. And the CEOs know this. So they know that they could put out a PR statement like this. And they know that a statement like this in a normal world would get a lot of traction, but we're living in a Trump world, so probably no one is going to talk about this much today, which is, I don't know, okay, probably for the best, because I think this is nothing more than a PR stunt by CEOs trying to survive in this changing world where you have Elizabeth Warren and, most of all, Bernie Sanders on the forefront of the Democratic nomination process. And this, to me, is them trying to say, back off a little bit. back off a little bit because we get it. Income inequality is a thing, right? We get it. The environment is important, right? They get all these things. And so they're trying to get people off of their back. The real test is going to come when it's time to make a decision that the shareholders are not going to agree with. Like I started to say earlier, capitalism, corporatism, the way our corporations are set up in this country, it does not lend itself towards this type of thinking, right? It's going to take more than just CEOs putting it down on paper saying this is what we hope to do. It's going to take a fundamental restructure of how corporations work in this country, because CEOs will be penalized if they actually operated this way. That's the kicker. CEOs will be penalized by shareholders if they operated this way, because it's not just the CEOs, it's the entire corporate structure that we have in this economy, and it's also the shareholders who are demanding profits. And if the shareholders are not satisfied, depending on who the majority shareholders are, they could vote the CEO out.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.